He is an artist, a savant, who dominates with a daring, avant-garde style that transfixes his audience. And that's just his Twitter account. As for the man, he is that rare combination, a real character player who also happens to be a real character. This generational goalie's incredible talent and leadership led NHL teams to higher levels, epic cup drives, and the highest respect of his opponents. He was also the goalie entrusted by a hockey-mad nation and its greatest players to win the Olympic gold medal of a lifetime. He is the one and only Roberto Luongo, and tonight he takes his rightful place in the Hockey Hall of Fame.
A big personality and bigger saves are what makes Roberto Luongo one of the most iconic goaltenders of his generation. Following a successful junior career, the Montreal native was selected 4th overall by the New York Islanders at the 1997 NHL Draft. At the time, he was the highest selected goaltender in league history. After one season with the Isles, Luongo was traded to the Panthers, where his star truly began to shine.
What a stop by Roberto Luongo! Oh my goodness! Oh, Roberto!
During his first stint in Florida, Luongo proved to be a relentless worker, setting multiple franchise and NHL records in saves, shots faced, and games played, highlighted by a then Panthers record 35 wins in 75 games during the 05-06 season.
Oh, what a save off the stick of Lecavalier, who looks at the skies.
The following campaign, the All-Star goaltender was traded to the Vancouver Canucks, joining his Hall of Fame classmates, Henrik and Daniel Sedin. That season, he would notch 47 wins, helping propel the Canucks to first in the Northwest Division.
Brouwer with a long shot. Rebound. Oh, what a save! Luongo just robbed Ben Eager. That's unbelievable.
Luongo's leadership on the ice and in the dressing room was rewarded when the Canucks named him team captain, despite the NHL's rule that prohibits goaltenders from serving the role. During 2 seasons as captain, he was not allowed to wear the C on his jersey, so Luongo had the letter added into his mask design. In 2011, he led the league with 38 wins, helping guide the Canucks to the President's Trophy and to the Stanley Cup Final against Boston, ultimately falling short in Game 7. Success would come on the international stage for Luongo, winning a World Cup of Hockey, 2 golds at the IHHOF World Hockey Championship, and was a member of 3 Olympic teams, winning gold medals on home soil at Vancouver 2010 and again in Russia at Sochi 2014.
I'm just happy that I was able to win this for Canada, Vancouver, and myself. At the end of the day, I'm a gold medalist, and nobody can ever take that away from me.
Luongo was traded back to the Panthers at the 2014 trade deadline. During his second spell in Sunrise, Luongo became the all-time franchise leader in games played, wins, and shutouts. He also moved into second place for most games played by a goalie in NHL history. He currently sits 4th in the NHL in all-time wins and 9th in all-time shutouts. The Panthers retired his iconic #1 in 2020, becoming the first player in franchise history to earn this honor. After years of turning away shooters, the Hall of Fame now opens its door to this legendary netminder.
To present Roberto Luongo his Hall of Fame plaque, 2014 inductee Dominik Hasek.
Love you too, man. All right. Are you guys nice and relaxed now that your speeches are done? I'm the only one stressing up here. Well, Dominik Hasek, that's the first time I ever meet him in person, so Thank you for that. That was incredible. He is a true legend and one of the best goalies ever. And I don't think everybody's going to play like him again, but it was unbelievable to watch. I'd like to start off just by thanking the selection committee, Lanny and Mike. Thank you so much for this tremendous honor. Kelly Massey organizing this whole weekend. It's been unbelievable. My family and I are ecstatic of all the activities we got to celebrate together, and we really want to thank you for that. I want to congratulate the inductees, the Carnegie family. It's truly an honor to be part of this with you guys, get to know you over the weekend. Alfie, congratulations. Rika, and obviously Hank and Danny. When I got the call, the first thing I asked was if you guys were into, because I wanted it so bad to go in with you guys. Just being your teammates for 8 years was such an honor, and I'm proud to say that I play with you guys because just watching you, not on the ice, but also in the locker room as people, I hold you in such high regards that it's tough to put into words because you guys had so much pressure on you every night, as the face of the franchise, and you guys never deviated from who you were. You were always positive, and we looked up to you. Not only myself, but I know everybody in the locker room looked up to you guys, that you guys were leading the way for our club, and you really brought us along, so thank you. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm up here tonight, but I'm actually the lucky one because I'm going to go through a list of people here in the next few minutes, and the only reason I'm here is because of them. If it wasn't for them, I would not be here, I can tell you that. So I'm just going to start talking about maybe my childhood. And my parents, they worked when I was a kid, so I used to go to my grandparents' house, and they would babysit me every day. So, I started loving hockey, and I was alone with my grandmother every day, and it's like, Grandma, do you want to go downstairs and play hockey in the basement? So I throw her an apron on her with an oven mitt and a frying pan. I stick her by the table, and that was the goal. I'd shoot pucks at her all day long, and she seemed to enjoy it. I don't know, but my grandpa actually passed away a couple months ago. He bought me one of my first set of pads. So we went to the store one day, and back in the day, my team was red, white, and blue. So we get to the store, and we're looking at pads, and we're looking at this one, this one, this one. All of a sudden, my grandfather was at the cash register with a set of pads. I go over to him, and I go, "These are the ones you're buying. They're black and gray." I said, "They don't match." And he goes, "Yeah, but I'm the one buying them, so you have to just accept what I'm getting you." And I was like, "Okay, no problem." But the funniest part about that story was when the price rung up, it was $1,000, and he looked at me and he goes, "Is that for one pad or for both?" I said, "No, it's for both. You're good. Don't worry about it." A lot of people have mentioned like my work ethic and all that kind of stuff, so I just want to let you guys know that came from my mom and dad. As a kid, we were not really well off, and my dad would work every day, my mom would work every day, and they worked hard, and they taught that to me as a young age. And as a young kid, I would go with my dad and help him build bedroom sets when we were kids. So I'm really appreciative of the lessons that they installed in me at a young age that I carried through my adulthood, and I'm trying to instill in my children today. We were three brothers in the house. All three of us were goalies. I was the oldest one. So we were busy. We had a lot of battles. We played in hockey in the basement every single night. We destroyed it. Like, the walls were done, but we had such great times and such not so great times. A lot of tears, a lot of laughter, but I just want to say to Leo and Fabio that thank you guys for being there for me all these years, not only when we were kids, but as I grew up and I had some troubles, and you guys always had my back, and you always were there for me when I needed somebody to talk to, and it really meant a lot to me. Thank you. You know, a small part of me does feel bad because they never made it, you know. So I really want them to cherish this moment with me because I feel that without them, I wouldn't be here today, and I wish that they could have lived the same moments that I did throughout my career because I know that's what they wanted as well when they were young. I got a ton of friends here tonight. I got about 12, 13 friends, and we've been the same pack of guys since I was a kid, and they traveled all over the world to see me throughout my career, whether it was in Europe, in the United States, no matter what, they always supported me. So thanks, guys, and thanks for being here tonight. Something that I've been thinking a lot about since I retired is all the people that have come across my path, whether it was a coach or a teacher, whatever it was. And I always say to myself, if one of these people did not believe in me, I wonder where I would be. Probably not here today. And that's why all these people that came across that I worked with, whether it was a goalie coach or a coach, it was so important to me in my life that I just want to mention them by name. And some of them you'll sound familiar, but some of them maybe not. But the first goalie coach that really believed in me, his name was Mario Barry. I was in Bantam, and I went to try out for a midget AAA team, but I was still Bantam age. So I didn't expect to make the team. And he's the one that saw some potential in me and decided to choose me as an underager to be in the midget AAA team, which propelled me to get drafted the following season. Once I became a teenager, I started to learn more about the position and more the technicality about it. I started working with François Allaire. He's the one that was Patrick Roy's goalie coach back in the day when he was with the Montreal Canadiens, and he really taught me everything I know technically throughout my career, and it really elevated my game to just being a grand Fuhrer lover to a goalie that actually has some structure. So, merci beaucoup, François. I've had a chance to work with so many good goalie coaches in the NHL. Clint Malarchuk in Florida, Rolly Melanson in Vancouver, Ian Clark in Florida and Vancouver, and last but not least, my boy Rob Tallis here. We ended the end of my career together. The last few years, Rob was amazing. Thank you for always supporting me. A couple of minor league coaches that really that believed in me, that chose me on their team that I just wanted to shout out is Tony Canuto and Alain Fauché. Those two coaches really made a change in my life when I was in minor hockey, and I think it really helped me just gain a little bit of self-confidence and move on to the next level. My agents, the late Gilles Lupien. I remember when I was 15, he came to the rink, and he was huge. I think he was like 6'7". And he came over to the rink one day, and I was sitting there with my mom, and he said, you guys need to be ready because your son won't be living at home anymore. So that was kind of a shock at 15 years old, and I remember my mom was like, what do you mean by that? Well, it means that you're going to be moving away. So I don't know if you guys understand what Italian families are like, but you don't move away when you're 15 years old. You move away when you get married. So some of my friends are still living at home, so I just want later on in my career, I moved on to Pat Brisson, helped me facilitate the trade back to Florida, and really was a great friend to me in the last few years, so thank you, Pat, for being here. So when I did finally get drafted into junior, believe it or not, I got drafted to the furthest city away from Montreal as possible. I just remember sitting there on the draft floor, and the city was the Fareurs de Val d'Or. When they called my name, the first thing I looked at was my mom, and she gave me the look, like not impressed, 5.5-hour drive. But luck would have it, when I got there, I got to stay with an Italian family, and the transition was great. Their name was Maria and Gaetano. They were great to me, and for me, it became like a second family, and the transition was smooth. And I think at the same time, it really eased the hearts of my parents and their worries that their son was so far away. My last year junior, I got traded away to Bathurst, and I moved in with a family, Lou and Jane Willette, which was two of the nicest people you'll ever meet, so I just wanted to thank them as well. Every summer I would work out in, our home base was in Florida, and I would work out there in the summertime, and I had this trainer, Manny, an ex-Marine, that would train me every summer. And one of the things he'd like to do is he'd like to make me push his truck in the parking lot. I didn't like it that much, to be honest with you. And then one year, the season was over, I show up to the gym, and Manny goes to me, "Hey, Luke, come see what I just bought." So I go in the parking lot, and he had just bought an old Hummer. I don't know if you guys have ever seen those. They weigh about 5,000 pounds. So that was my last off season. I've been part of 3 franchises. Obviously, I got drafted by the New York Islanders. So I just want to thank them at the time for believing in me. I think even though my stint there was very short, it's still memorable because that's where I first started and played my first ever game. I played for Vancouver Canucks and the Florida Panthers, and a lot of people have asked me, you know, who would you go in with and all that kind of stuff, but to be honest with you, both franchises mean so much to me, and they're both equally important. I had my best moments in Vancouver. I got to a Stanley Cup final. I got to appreciate things more during the difficult times, and I think they demanded a lot out of me, and I expected a lot out of myself, and I think they helped me push me to become a better player, and most importantly, a better person. With the Panthers, you know, when I came back on my second stint, I was dead set on that I wanted to make the playoffs with them. I hadn't had a chance in the first time around, and when I got traded back, I thought that this was the. A lot of people thought I was going to right into the sunset, as they said, but for me, it was. I really wanted to witness a playoff series with that team, and we got a chance to do that against the Islanders. We lost, but it was still fun. The best part about playing goal is having a goalie partner, and I had some great ones. My first one was Kevin Weeks with the New York Islanders. You guys all know Weeksy, obviously. What a great character and a great guy. And we were actually 2 young guys the first year, and it was fun to just, you know, push each other and be better. One of my favorite goalie partners was Noodles, Jamie McLennan. Back in the day, I was playing 75 games a year. He only played 5, so it didn't really matter. But the funny story was one game, in the first period, I took a hard slap shot in the hand, and it hurt bad. So during the first TV timeout, I skated over to the bench, and I said, "Noodles, bud, listen, I think my hand might be broken. You're going to have to go in this game. I'm sorry." He looks at me and goes, "You're fine, shake it off." One of my best goalie partners is Corey Schneider. Not only was he my best partner, he was an awesome guy, and I don't know if you guys know this, but he played an American Hockey League game on Saturday, and Sunday he came over here to play in the Legends game, which, by the way, I scored 2 goals, if you guys didn't know. To play in the Hall of Fame game. That's crazy, just to show you how good a guy he is. But we got along so great, and we pushed each other so hard, and obviously you guys saw that we did a skit together just because there was a lot of turmoil within the city, but me and Corey, we knew that you know, that wasn't the case, so we wanted to show everybody that we wanted to show that we're friends, and hey, 2 goalies is now what it takes nowadays to be a good team. I also wanted to give a special shout out to Danny Sabrin, who came in relief when I had my bathroom shenanigans that one game in the playoffs. When I first got traded to Florida, I was single, obviously, and I was 21 years old. I did not know where to go. And I remember after one practice, Scott Mellenby came up to me. He's like, "Hey, I want to take you to this Italian place. It's right down the street from the practice rink. The owner wants to meet you." I said, "Sure." You know, it was right by where I lived, so it was perfect. So I go over there, and I meet the owner, 6'5" Italian, great guy, and we became friends. And, you know, after a little bit of time, they started inviting me over to the house. I was having dinner there. It was great. It was like another family. So, wouldn't you know it, they had a daughter. And that happens to be the love of my life, Gina. So, but now I have 3 loves in my life because I also have 2 beautiful kids, Gabrielle and Gianni. That I am so proud of. You guys are growing so fast, too fast, and it's tough to watch, but every day I look at you guys, and as I'm sure Gina and I feel tremendous amount of pride in the way you guys are growing. When I watch you dance, it brings me joy and pride seeing you float in the air like that. And now my little boy, Gigi, he is a goaltender. And I'm saying to myself, what the hell is he thinking? But it's funny because I watch him play and I get all the same emotions as when I play, except that now I'm actually more nervous because I don't control it and I want him to do well every single game. And I am proud of you, no matter what, remember that. And finally, the love of my life, Gina, my rock. It's been a long journey. It's been tough, and like Hank and Danny said, you know, a lot of times you were left on your own because we were on the road playing cards, winning at cards, mostly for me, I don't know, but, and you were, you know, holding down the fort at home. And as athletes, sometimes you take that a little bit for granted, but I just want to say that I admire you, and I love you so much, and thank you for everything. Thank you, guys.